Hello again and welcome to the second day of eCommerce Growth Summit. It was a long day for all of us here at OmniConvert. We've got some extraordinary speakers. A bit of housekeeping before introducing our first speaker for today's session, Andy Crestodina. So if you have any kind of questions, you can ask them here or you can ask them on our Slack group channel. Otherwise, if you have any kind of freeze or if you can't see the image, simply hit refresh on your browser and it should go well. If it's not working on Crowdcast, you can also go to YouTube channel to OmniConvert and you can watch the sessions live over there. So that being said, I think I can introduce Andy Crestodina, which is the founder of Orbit Media, an Award 38 digital agency in Chicago. And he has some tremendous approach on content marketing, and I've watched him live. We even took a walk in Bucharest, and he was the first guy that I've seen drinking beer and something we have here, papanash, which is a dessert. Without further ado, Andy, thanks a lot for being part of the show.
I am so glad to be here. It's a little bit early for me here in Chicago, but I don't mind a bit. I would never have missed this. I'm honored by the opportunity. I would never miss a chance to teach, especially a topic like this, which is analytics. I have been using Google Analytics since it came out. I've been using analytics with a lowercase a. When it's a capital A, it's the Google product. When it's a lowercase a, it's the category of all the products. For about 20 years. So I started 20 years ago and have been doing SEO and analytics since then. The last 12 years, I've been speaking and teaching and writing and making videos and giving classes on digital marketing, content strategy, blogging, social media, email marketing, influencer marketing. And it's beautiful how all these things came together in a kind of a unified new digital marketing vision for all of us. But it doesn't work unless we measure. You're not playing the game unless you're watching the scoreboard. So this session is about how to use data to get closer to your audience, to understand what they want, to better serve them, and to meet their information needs. Some of it is relevant to e-commerce. All of it is universal, and some of it is specific to e-commerce. I hope you find this useful. Of course, we will be sharing the slides. I'm going to cover a lot of stuff in the next 28 minutes. Don't feel pressure to learn everything all at once because you can come back and watch this video 100 times. You can forward this video to someone on your team. You could find just the slide that made the most sense for you. Just write down the time code of when I said something and go back and watch just that part. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. You're going to see a blank screen, a browser here for a second, and now we are in. Valentin, do I look good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Why do I love analytics? Why is analytics so important? I'm going to show you kind of a joke, but very relevant. This is a video showing two teams playing, the red team versus the blue team. In marketing, there are lots of red teams out there that just try to flood the zone. They go with quantity over quality. They don't really know what works. They're not really strategic. They're not well connected. They're not great communicators. They don't have data to know what's working. Look, the red team's got like 10 goalies. Do you think that's going to help the red team? Is that going to make any difference? Why? No, it didn't help. Why are some teams so much more effective? Why do some people win at this every day and other people just struggle to get traction? They keep trying something, they post and pray, they make product detail pages and they don't know what works. It's data. That's the difference. That's the point. That's the goal. That's the idea here. Data-driven empathy. I don't have time to be a red team. I'm wearing a blue, I should have literally worn a blue shirt today. I've got a 1-year-old girl and she needs a lot of time and attention. So I don't have time to be, a hopeful marketer. I don't have time to guess. I have to know what works. Every idea I have is not an idea, it's a hypothesis. The outcome of that is shown me in the data. I need time to make her mango yogurt popsicles. That's my job. She gets along very well with her older brother. He's 3. They're going to be 2 and 4 soon. I started them on this very early. You can see from a very young age, I'm teaching them how to use data, how to be a data-driven decision maker. He's tried to eat this book in the next picture. Okay, here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to ask a question because that is how to use analytics. Do not use analytics for reporting. Use analytics for analysis. Answer questions, take action. Reports do not affect your marketing. Only actions affect your marketing. Therefore, I do not use analytics unless I'm trying to find an insight, unless I'm trying to answer a question. Every now and then someone asks me this crazy question: how often should I use analytics? How often do you look at the dashboard on your car? When you need information. I use analytics every time I have a question. I don't just log into analytics once a week to look at reports. That would not affect my marketing. Only actions affect marketing. Answers affect actions. I'm going to ask questions. We're going to go from question to answer to action. Now, I'm also going to segment you guys into two groups. The smiley emoji there is for people for whom this is very relevant. The thinking emoji, interesting. If that's not relevant to you, just wait a minute. We'll get to another one. This is a starter, basic, beginner, warm-up. Which blog posts are getting seen the most? How do I find that answer? I'm going to show you screenshots from analytics for exactly where to click. Acquisition, behavior, conversion, ABC. It's alphabetized. Those are the main sections on the left. Top of funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, acquisition, behavior, conversion. So which blog posts are getting seen the most? The noun in that sentence is blog post. Therefore, it's a content question. Therefore, it's in the behavior section. Behavior, site content, all pages. Filter for blog, and you're going to see all the blog posts. They're sorted by page views, so this is the easiest one. But I like to use these views. You see these little views up here? I'm going to switch to the bar chart view or the comparison view. These articles, these blog posts are getting seen much, much more than the others. This one's getting seen 15,000% more than the others. So insight, what's the insight? Ask yourself, for those top pages, is everything up to date? They're getting seen 15,000% more than the average page. Focus on those. Could you make them any better? Could you add video? Could you add internal links? Could you add calls to action? That's the insight. That's the action. That's the impact on your marketing. What phrases does this page rank for? Product page, product category page, home page, any page. If you have Search Console connected, this will be very helpful. If you don't get traffic from search at all, just hang in there for a minute. Acquisition Search Console landing pages. This is the set of reports that pull in data from that other Google tool called Google Search Console. If you click on a landing page here, it will show you all the phrases for which that page ranks and the average position, as in the average ranking over that date range. Not technically ranking, but close. That is what's working for that URL. Very, very useful. Now, the action you can take, 3 tips for this almost high ranking content, which, by the way, look at the best opportunities. The 10s, the 7s, right? The 11s, the 15s. These are the phrases for which it almost ranks high. This is the most reliable win. I can get more traffic to any website in about 15 minutes. I just have to focus on the pages that are almost performing well. And I don't do keyword research like with another tool. I let Google do my keyword research for me. It tells me what's almost working. Go realign those with a different primary key phrase if it's not already ranking for something. Make sure that that article incorporates all those phrases. Does it? Often no. Every day I see it. Yesterday, did this with a client. They had a page ranking for a phrase that wasn't even on the page. And then make that a better page. What is SEO? SEO is about making the best page on the internet, right? Help Google, help people find you. Make it an awesome page. Don't try to trick a robot. Try to make an awesome piece of content. Well, how? Add detail, add length, add answers, add statistics, add contributor quotes, add anything you can that makes that a better page. That's the fundamental thinking behind search. When you go to that report, you see this long paragraph of text, that means Search Console is not yet connected. I don't have time this morning to show you how to connect Search Console and Analytics. If you search for how to set up Google Analytics, there's an article on my site, Orbit Media. It's down there. And it has a video that shows you exactly how to connect Google Search Console to Google Analytics. Just search for how to set up Google Analytics and you'll find it. That's a useful one also to send to people on your team. What are they searching for? Not in Google, but on your site. What are they searching for on your own website? If you've got a search tool, a little search box on your website, this will be great. If not, hang in there for a minute. We'll get to another tactic in a second. This is a travel site. This travel site has a search tool. This to make sure that search tool is listening, right? That search tool is there as a service to visitors. Yes, but it's also a tool for the website owner to do some data-driven empathy, to do some listening. It's a view setting. Go to account property view. That's the grandparent, the parent, and the child. The view settings are on the far right. search setup, site search tracking is a view setting. So turn on site search tracking and then enter the query parameter for your website if this isn't there yet. What's the query parameter for your website? It is up when you search for something. For most websites, the query you just searched for is pushed into the URL, pushed into the address bar. That is the query you just searched for. And right before that is the query parameter. On this site, it's search_term. On some sites like Google, it's Q. Other sites, it just says T for term. There's just all websites are built differently, so Google can't set this up for you by default. You just have to enter into Google Analytics your query parameter. In this case, search_term, and then click save. And then, a week later, soon, hopefully, when you go to behavior, site search terms, it's going to show you every phrase that people search for on your website. This is everything. This is one of only 3 places. This is magical. There's only 3 places I know of in all of digital where your audience is literally typing in what they want from you. Listen to that, right? Go look at that. Now I'm going to do a little bit of fancy analytics, and I'm going to add another dimension. That first column is called the primary dimension. I'm going to add another dimension, a secondary dimension. Secondary dimensions are ways to add data from different reports into any report. So an interesting combination of primary and secondary dimension. By the way, there's only 2 things in Google Analytics: dimensions and metrics. Dimensions and metrics. The dimensions, the far left column, the metrics is everything on the right. So a combination of 2 dimensions, primary and secondary, search term with exit page, fascinating, because now you can see what people searched for and from which page they left the website. People who searched for Bonaire left from Bonaire. People who searched for Guatemala left from Guatemala. People who searched for packing list left from the search results page. Wait a minute, that's weird. That is an example of them searching for something and then not clicking, as in they searched for something and then didn't find it. This is the report of broken dreams. This shows you a list of ways in which your website is unsatisfying. Another clue is to just look over here, percent search exits. Look, that actually stands out right away. You can just do it that way too. But it's useful to know how to add secondary dimensions to reports, so I show it that way. Another interesting thing is to see what page from which they searched. This is great for e-commerce because you can see if there's a product page that people are searching for something while they are on a product page. You just found a data-driven empathy, a gap, a content gap, an unmet information need. Think about this. This is an important way to understand digital. Your job as a digital marketer is to meet people's information needs. Your job in analytics is to find unmet information needs. So here on this website, search terms, what are people searching for? Opt out, opt out, opt out. When we add, a lot of people want that. When we add the secondary dimension of start page, by the way, start screen, exit screen, that's about apps. Start page, exit page, that's about websites. So be careful, make sure you use start page and exit page. Opt out, that's the page. They all have the same page. I'm not sure there's a client data, so I blurred it out, but that is the page that is missing that information. The report of broken dreams. This is common when you call something the wrong thing. For example, this website has a section called excavating and earth moving, but everybody searches for bulldozers. Maybe you should call it bulldozers. Obviously, search for every phrase in that report. What did you see? Pretend to be your audience for 10 minutes a day. It does wonders for your marketing. Your page isn't ranking, go optimize it. Improve your content to rank in your search tool on your website. You might hate SEO, but that's a type of SEO you should definitely get on board with. If you didn't have a page on that topic, you've discovered a content gap, go create it. That company didn't have a packing list. Or maybe they had a packing list called what to bring, and it wasn't ranking for packing list. And you can also go to adjust your navigation to help people find things better. We do web development. We build 50 to 60 websites a year. We build large-scale, high-performing e-commerce websites. Browser compatibility testing is a big job, and we have to have a lot of devices here to make sure everything works everywhere. But there's a shortcut for each of you to use, and you should probably do this today to see if your site is working well in every browser, especially relevant if your site has some fancy programming. Audience Technology Browser OS will show you every device, every user agent, they call them, every browser people use to use your website. You'll notice that they don't all have the same bounce rates. Switch to the comparison view again. You saw how I did this. It's that view button up there. There's 5 views for most reports. And it shows you if some bounce rates have higher than average, or some browsers have higher than average bounce rates. Simple.
Andy?
Yeah. Valentin.
Yes, we have a question from Daniel. He's asking the pages when you show the image where you search for blog that didn't get many page views. Do you have any thoughts if simply removing the page or updating the content is the best option, and how to know which way to go to avoid dead pages?
That's a fun question. If you have a page that's not performing in terms of traffic, you can look at the page and ask yourself, is it an opportunity? Is the content on that page evergreen? Is that page worthy of traffic, but just isn't getting any? In other words, content is good, but promotion is bad. If so, I would relaunch that page on the same URL. Update the page, keep the URL the same, update the date, and put it back on the top of the pile, put it back into heavy social rotation, send an email to promote it again, collaborate with an influencer to get a quote from an influencer on that page, and maybe they'll help share or promote. If the content is just out of date, if it's not relevant anymore, if it's not important content, just let it go. It's not important. So the question is really, when you look at a piece of content, you're analyzing it against its possible opportunities. I have an article that says what the average bounce rate is. We looked at 500 analytics accounts, and I found that the average bounce rate is 61%. The average bounce rate for websites is 61%. That page is the best page on the internet for that topic. That page is the most credible source for that information. It doesn't rank yet. It's not getting traffic. I'm still working on it. I'm going to keep working on it because I invested in that, and it's a very useful piece of data for many websites. So yeah, it just depends on the content. Thank you for the question, Daniel, and anyone else, feel free to ask anything. If we don't get to questions today, connect with me on LinkedIn and ask me anything. Email me, Andy@OrbitMedia, and ask me anything. I'll continue. Some problems are very expensive. E-commerce website, browser OS, not just the bounce rate, but the e-commerce conversion rate is below expected. Why would the most popular browser have a lower than expected e-commerce conversion rate? Click on the browser to drill down and see the version of the browser. Wait a minute. There are 2 versions of Chrome that have ultra low e-commerce conversion rates. Something is wrong. Literally, look at that bounce rate, 0.05, or look at that conversion rate. The website is broken. Look at what the expected numbers would be. You'd think that would, for a browser that is 60% of your total traffic, but only 44% of your revenue, there's millions, tens of millions of dollars of missing money. This is an insanely expensive problem. So go ask yourself, do some browsers have higher bounce rates than others? Do some browsers or browser versions have lower the conversion rates than others, lower than expected e-commerce conversion rates? If so, you could put Hotjar on that cart and watch to see if someone's in that website. The autofill feature of that version of Chrome was overlaying a button that allowed them to proceed. And people were rage clicking 100 times on the side trying to get out of that autofill, and they were stuck. Universal, every website, not e-commerce, all websites. How well is your navigation working? If you've got lots of things in your navigation menu, this is going to be really valuable. If your navigation is just a couple items like the Orbit Media website, there's fewer insights, but still interesting. Big browsers, big drop downs, or big navigation bars, right? Look at all this navigation. What's working, what's not. If you go to the All Pages report and then let's just click on the home page. Click on the home page. You're looking at the same report with one row. Andy, that wasn't useful. Why'd you tell me to click on that? It's because now you can click on the navigation summary. This is hiding in plain sight. It's one of the most insightful reports. It's hiding right there in plain sight. Almost people never seem to click on that. Why wouldn't you click on that? Analysts never teach that. Why not? Because it doesn't take setting up. It's just a simple thing. It's always there. But for the UX, website analyst, business owner, it's very, very important. In 2 seconds, I'm seeing the performance of my navigation. What was that? 1, 2, 3 clicks. 3 clicks. This is the home page. You can see. You can change the page from here. You can change the number of rows from here if you don't see something you're looking for. There's your home page. There's the exit rate. Here's the next step. 30% of people proceed. What do? These pages. This is the performance of your navigation. And it's not weird to notice that people are not using it the way you expected. Look at this playground. Oh, kids love slides. They will love our slides. We made these fun, curvy slides. No, they don't. That's not how people are using it. So ask yourself, are little things getting clicked a lot? Are big things getting missed? Are your calls to action even effective? Are people clicking on the big, it's every day. It happens all the time. We're on websites where there's a loud, bright, colorful, bold, white space around it button. Doesn't get clicked. But down at the bottom, I saw a site recently, the number one click was on the team page, not uncommon, but the only link to that page was in the footer. The number one click was skipping all the navigation, skipping all the content. It was a footer click. Totally crazy. So anyway, rebalance your navigation based on the navigation summary. And maybe if something's not working, just get rid of it, because everything you remove from a page makes everything left easier to find. Take stuff off your website for better results. Everyone gets to work in the morning and says, what can we add to this thing? Don't add anything. Never add something to a website without taking something away first, unless you have data to support the hypothesis. Which of your pages isn't satisfying? If you've got an FAQ page, this one is fun. An FAQ page, this one is fun. I'm going to jump right to it. Go to this Behavior Site Content All Pages report, filter to find FAQ, or find your FAQ page, click on your FAQ page. Now when you go to the navigation summary from this, the start page, the previous page, shows you where people were, when people left your sales content to get to the FAQs. These are pages with content gaps. This is data-driven empathy, because this shows you that these pages are not satisfying an information need. Therefore, your job is to go to the FAQ page and make sure that these pages have more of that information, because you don't want your visitor to have to click around and create their own story. You want the pages to read their mind. Here, I'll show you this. A well-built page has a visual hierarchy that aligns with the prioritized information needs of that visitor. That's what a sales page does. It emulates a sales conversation. It knows what their top concerns are in what order. It answers their questions, and it adds evidence to support your answers. Add a call to action. That's a web page. That's what a web page it really does. At its best, that's what it does. So the questions missing from those pages, are there other questions those visitors are likely asking? Here's another chance to do some more analysis. How frequently are they using the FAQ page? How are they using it? If you've got an FAQ page that has expandable answers and you put Hotjar on it, you'll immediately see which of those are getting expanded on, right? Some of those get clicked a lot. Some of those never get clicked. That is not a frequently asked question. If it was, people would have expanded to see the answer, right? You end up realizing that every click on your website is an online poll, and it's all useful for making decisions about data. So basically, you should move your FAQ pages, move that content around so that it's going to be on the more relevant pages, and reorder the questions, putting those ones at the top. I'm going to speed up here a little bit. I can come back to this. I've got an eye tracking study. If we have time at the end, I'll show you how an eye tracking study works to get even deeper insights. But I'm afraid I won't get to the rest of the analysis, which is probably more practical. How are videos performing on your website? If you've got Google Tag Manager and you've got a YouTube video embedded on your website, this will be fun. You can set it up in 5 minutes. If you don't have video on your website yet, or you haven't finished setting up Google Tag Manager, you're going to learn something, but it won't be practical for you yet today. Article has embedded video. Are people clicking to watch that video? Google Analytics does not track that video view by default. By default, Google Analytics only tracks page view interactions as they move from page to page to page. Watching a video is a non-page view interaction. Expanding an FAQ, accordion content is a non-page view interaction. So you have to set up events in Google Analytics to track these things that are not page views. So in Google Tag Manager, I'm going to first configure some variables. They're pre-built variables. I don't know why Tag Manager doesn't have them configured by default. Only takes you a second to do. Go to variables, configure these variables under video, turn them all on. Next, we're going to make a trigger. The trigger is going to have a meaningful name. I'm calling my trigger YouTube video. This trigger is going to tell Analytics when to start listening to that tag, right? It's going to tell the browser when to start listening for that tag. So I give it a meaningful name. It's a pre-built trigger for YouTube. There's an extra step involved if you want to do this for Vimeo or Vidyard or something else. But YouTube video is built in, so your tag is right there. Click all those boxes, stop, start, complete, whatever, progress. You can set percentages for progress, and then these are the settings. I recommend just leaving them like this. It won't hurt, just add JavaScript API support for YouTube videos. This trigger is going to enable on the DOM ready, that's document object model. That's the trigger will start listening for interactions as soon as the browser has loaded enough for the memory layer of the browser to start paying attention to what's happening. That's all that means. Just leave it like that. Now we're going to make a trigger, or now we're going to make a tag. We save the trigger, and we're going to make a tag. The tag, use naming conventions, please. GA for Google Analytics, event, because that's the type of tag, and it's going to be a YouTube tag. So Universal Analytics is one we most of us have. The next version of Analytics is coming soon. It's an event. Events have what? Categories, actions, and labels. Every event has category, action, and label. My category, I'm calling it video view. The action and label, I'm using the ones from the variables that we configured. Non-interaction hit true will keep this tag, keep this event from affecting our bounce rate. A bounce is not a one-page visit. A bounce is a one-hit visit. And video views, events, these things once set up are hits. So unless you want your bounce rate to change forever, starting now, set non-interaction hit to true. So that event is not an interaction hit like a page view. If you leave it by default, it's false. If you leave it as non-interaction hit false, then the definition of a bounce on your website will change starting the day that you set this up. Again, we've published a lot about bounce rate recently. Ask me later, I'll share that article. Connected to the trigger, there it is. Save the tag, submit the container, put the container, right? It puts the new container of tags back on your website. And now it's listening. Now when you press play, it knows. Okay, I'm going to do analysis now. I'm going to make a segment of video viewers. Segments are so powerful if you're not using them yet. Just click to add a new segment. I'm going to make it a new segment. It's a conditional. This is the only kind of segment I make. They're all just conditional. It's like creating filters. And that segment is going to be called video watchers. And it includes when the event category contains video view. We just made this 2 seconds ago. That's exactly what I typed in. Video view is my event category. So it includes sessions where the event category contains video view. Even before I click save, I get insights because it tells me what percentage of my visitors meet that criteria. 0.8. Cool, that's fine. Less than 1% of visitors watch video. I'm not worried about that. Now I make another segment called video no watchers. I'm using naming conventions again. I wanted the word video to be at the beginning because I'm going to see these in an alphabetized list in a minute. So video, it sounds awkward, but I have video watchers and video no watchers. This is the same exact one. It just excludes when the event category contains video view. So what we have now is with those two segments, I can see the difference between people who watch and don't watch. 10% of people watch videos on this page. This, by the way, is a page, events landing page. 10% of people who watch a video, who on this page watch the video. They are 20% less likely to bounce. They spend 3.5 times more time on the page. They are 350% more likely to convert. Now I know the difference in visitor behavior based on the views of that video. Not surprising why in our survey every year, the bloggers who report strong results are the ones doing video. Yet, everybody doing it? Nope, only 26% of bloggers are including videos on their articles. So now you can answer questions like, where do your videos perform? On your website or YouTube? That was unknowable before. Could other high bounce rate, low time on page pages use videos? Probably yes. That answers the other question, right? You got a low engagement page. How could you improve it? Now you know. You know what the benchmark performance improvement is for adding this content format. And also you can improve the play rate for videos. Here's how to make your videos more playable. A human face plus the headline will improve the play rate on your videos. While making this slide, I realized another problem. I look like I'm trapped in a basement. This is like a very dark, boring, dull background behind me. The other higher performing videos do have colorful backgrounds. So we're going to wrap up here in a minute. I'm going to make the case that segments are really the way to do analysis. This is a lead gen site, but it's the identical analysis for e-commerce. Hey, Andy, your conversion rate is 0.5%. You stink at marketing. Hold on a minute. that is only the conversion rate, including 1 million blog posts with tons of traffic and super low conversion rates. How do I see the conversion rate for people who did not start on the blog? Well, all I need to do is to make a segment for these people. Click to add a segment. Then I'm going to let's make a new segment. You saw me do this. I make all my segments. They're basically conditional segments. The condition of the people that I don't want to include in here, let's call them non-blog landers, people who don't start their visit on the blog. That's going to be a condition that excludes people, right? This is a great way to do analysis for e-commerce. Exclude people for whom the landing page contained blog. Cool. Let's look at these people separately. That's only 7.5% of people who don't start their visit on a blog. But these are my prospects. These are my qualified visitors. These are people who start on a conversion page. Now look, great. There you go. I'm defended. My conversion rate for people who don't start their visit on a blog is super high. It's 2.5%. Great. So you can use this data to go have a better meeting, guys. Starting Monday, you're going to go have better meetings. You're going to defend yourself from the hippo, which is the highest paid person's opinion. And everything that we did today was about crossing the line. We're going to cross the line. There's a line that separates the good from the basic from the advanced analytics users. And that line is right here. I'm not kidding. That's the line. That's the line. People who are beginner analytics people, click on the left. People who are good at analytics, they click on the right. They create segments. They drill down. They create secondary dimensions. They set up advanced filters. Right? They do all the things we just did. We just did all those things. You saw me, I almost never clicked on the left, right? Just the one time. I'm doing all my analysis by clicking on the right. So the real experts actually pull their data out of analytics and they do the analysis in other tools like Tableau or Data Studio or Google Sheets, which integrates beautifully. So I'm not even kidding. That's the line that separates people who didn't come to this summit from the people who did. Now that you have been here, now that you've got this video, now that you can go experiment with these things, you're going to find yourself clicking much more on that line. That's the goal. One last tip, guys. Go update your LinkedIn profile because you just leveled up your skills. Oh, I have 4 seconds left. Maybe a question.
So, Andy, we have a question. Can you suggest a book about analytics? That's the question from Pedro.
Well, the book that I was sharing on screen there 1 second ago is my handbook for content marketing. So I have to recommend my own book, of course. It's called Content Chemistry. It has everything I know, so that hopefully is useful. The other book that I recommend was the book that I was showing my
with your daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like we've lost Andy, but thanks a lot for joining, and see you in the next session where Burj Tanir is going to be talking about why e-commerce businesses can't survive without pricing optimization. So thanks a lot for watching.
As an e-commerce manager, you want to stop spending money on expensive ads. OmniConvert Explore helps you improve conversion through A/B testing, personalization, and surveys. Understand that growth is also a matter of retention, not only acquisition. With OmniConvert Reveal, you'll understand segments, monitor customer experience, and nurture your customers on every channel.